Hello class, welcome to lesson 4 of unit 12, our last unit. This is IXL T5, volume of prisms and cylinders. So the formula for volume of both prisms and cylinders is volume equals base times height. Notice I use a capital B for base and then a lowercase h for height. The reason why is because the base is truly dependent. So this is, you know what, let me just write it out here. So it's going to be base times height. And the question really is, what is the base? It's all about the base. So if the base is, for instance, a square, you're going to take that square and then multiply it by the height. Think about it like sticky notes. Imagine you have a sticky note and you repeat that sticky note on top of each other for as long as it goes up in height. Or maybe you have a rectangular sticky note, or maybe you have a triangular sticky note, or maybe you have a circular sticky note. Okay, and so it's all based on the base, and the base can change. So you just have to ask yourself, what shape is the base? If the base is a square, then you have to do length times width to get the base, and then multiply that by the height of the geometric solid. Okay, so here, the base is equal to, the base is a square. Let me try that again. So the square is also base times height. So it's the square is 4 inches times 4 inches, which is 16 inches squared. And so now volume is base times height. So volume is 16 inches squared times a height of 4 inches. So really what I'm doing is I'm taking this square right here, which is 4 by 4, and I'm just putting it like sticky notes until it fills up and gets all the way up to the top. So it's 4 times 4 times 4, because 4 times 4 is my base, and then 4 is my height. Okay, so we have 64 inches cubed, because 16 times 4 is 64. Whoops. And we're done. Now the base here, we're going to say is, it's a rectangle. And we're going to say that the base here is 6 times 3. And I could pick any two of these to really be my 6, 12, 18 to be my base, because it doesn't really matter which items I pick. But I'm just going, if it was this right here, if it was this square, that square would be repeated for 3. So if it was 6 by 6, it would be repeated by 3. If it was this was a base, it would be 6 by 3, and it would be repeated for a length of 6. And then if this one was the base, it would be 6 by 3, and it would be repeated by 6. So it doesn't matter. I'm still going to multiply all 3 of those together. Okay, so volume is base times height. Volume is 18 feet squared. I'm running out of room. Let me do that right there. 18 feet squared by 6 feet. Okay, and whoops, 18 times 6 is 108. So it's 108 feet cubed. And you're going to say, Mr. Albertus, can I just do 6 times 6 times 3? You can, but I'm just trying to show you that it's a repetitive process of sticky notes of our cross sections, right? You're stacking the cross sections on top of one another until they fill up a space. And that's what we call a geometric solid. Okay? Now this one, your base is your triangle. You don't get to pick if you want it to be anything else, because the only shape that will repeat itself is this triangle here. as I drag it and repeat it like sticky notes, it will go all the way to the back. Okay, so the base here, whoops, we have the base is a triangle. So the area of a triangle, let me rewrite that. Area of triangle equals 1/2 base times height, small b for base times height. Area of my triangle is equal to 1/2 20 inches by 15 inches. So area of my triangle equals half of 20, which is 10 inches, times 15 inches. And so the area of the triangle is 150 inches. Whoops. 150 inches squared. And move that one up a little bit. Whoops, not that one. I'm running out of room. And then from there, you just do the volume, which is base times height. So it's a triangle. So volume equals 150 inches squared times height. So the height is 16 because that's how long that triangle will be repeated for. 16 inches. So it's going to be 150 times 16, which is 2,400. So volume equals 2,400 inches cubed. Let me just make some adjustments. There we are. All right, this next one is a circle, right? So the base is your circle. That's what's repeating. As we fill that up, the circle will be repeated over and over again. So the first thing we want to do is find the area of my circle, which is pi r squared. So the area of my circle is pi times 15 meters squared. So area of my circle is 225 pi meters squared, because meters times meters is meters squared. 15 times 15 is 225, and pi stays for the ride. Okay, and so now volume is going to be base times height. So volume is going to be 225 pi meters squared times my height, which is 16 meters. See how I don't really have a choice now on what I want to pick? It has to be the 16, and the 15 had to be the radius. So 225 times 16 is 3,600. So volume equals 3,600 pi meters cubed. And it says it doesn't want me to use pi. It wants me to use 3.14. So I'm going to multiply 3,600 times the number 3.14. And because of all the zeros, it actually worked out really well. Volume equals 11304. And because we approximated, I'm okay. I feel comfortable enough using the approximate symbol here, because I used 3.14. I'll even write out the step before it. Why not? So 3,600 times 3.14. I got 11,304 meters cubed. So 111,304. Okay, and so those are some problems that you might face on this. There's another one. Oh, I have a whole, yes, so these are going to be working backwards. Well, this one's not working backwards. But what we do have to be cautious of first is just making this 13 yards and 13 yards, because the diameter is 26, but you have to cut that in half to find the radius. Okay, so the area of the circle is pi r squared. So the area of a circle is pi 13 yards squared. Area of my circle is 169 pi yards squared, because 13 times 13 is 169. And then yards times yards is yards squared. And then pi comes for the ride. And so now we're going to do volume. So volume is base times height. So volume is, let's see, base is 169 pi yards squared times a height of 15. So notice the only difference with this problem is that you just had a diameter, so you had to put it back in terms of a radius. So we have 2535 pi yards cubed. And we want to use 3.14. And we're going to round to the nearest hundredth, but we might not even need to do that. Yeah, we will. I don't know if this number is large enough. I don't think it is, to get rid of decimals. Oh, the rounding happened for us. Yep, it's pretty good. So it ends up being 7959.9 yards cubed. So 7,959.9. And we are done with that one. These are now working backwards ones. So you're given the volume, okay, and you're working backwards to find what a height or a length might be. So in this case, the volume of a volume is base times height of a prism. So it looks like my volume was given to me as 238,464. And you know what? The base is given to me by these two numbers here. Those are the base. It's actually the area of that square. So, well, I'm sorry, the area of that rectangle. So I'm going to say that the base is equal to 81 times 64. And now all I need left is the height, which I'll call P. Okay, so let me just say that, let me replace this right here. Base is being replaced here, and height is being replaced here. Okay, so 238,464 equals 81 times 64 is 5,100. Oops. 5,184 times P, and I'm going to divide both sides by 5,184. So 238,464 464 divided by 5184. And so that's equal to 46 equals P. So P would have to be 46 inches for this particular problem, for that particular base of 5,184 to work. Okay. The next one. So in this case, you have volume of a cube is given, and you are looking for the sides. Now, the sides of a cube are all the same. So here's what we can do. We can say volume is base times height. So volume is base times height. And so volume equals S times S, which is my base, times my height, which is S. So volume is actually equal to S cubed. And what we want to do is we want to substitute in 658.503 equals S cubed. All right. And so now what we have to do both sides is what's called the cubic root. So I need to find the cubic root of, and it's kind of like the squared root, but you're finding the third root of it. So it's a little bit more intense of an operation, but it's what three things multiply together to equal that number. Well, in this case, S times S times S is S cubed. So that gets rid of S cubed and brings it down to be just an S, which is what we want. We want to find out what S is, okay? And so now we're going to find the cubic root of 658,503. And so what I have here is, okay, I have a scientific calculator I have up. So I'm going to show you just on Google, type in scientific calculator, and I'll show you how you can do this. There's a couple of things you can do. We can type in that number 658,503. 658.5. Oh, let me try that again. 658,503. 658.503. I'm not sure why my pencil's not working. 658,503, I think it was. Yep. And we can find the cubic root of it by actually bringing it to the 1/3 power. I'm going to show you how to do that. You're just going to click this button. Okay. If you're wondering, it was x to the y. So I'm saying, okay, I entered a number, and I want to bring it to a certain power. And that power, instead of the cube, to find the cubic root, it's actually going to be 1 divided by 3. So in parentheses, I'm just throwing that 1 divided by 3. So I'm bringing it to the what's called the 1/3 power, or the cubic root. Okay, and the answer is 8.7. So, and I'll go back to that in a second. I know it was different, right? So 8.7. So the question is, if I do 8.7 times 8.7 times 8.7, whoops. If I do 8.7, it does not like the Apple Pencil. There we go. Okay, 8.7 times 8.7 times 8.7 equals, and it gets me to my original number that I had for my volume, which was 658.503 units cubed. Units cubed, it's meters cubed. Okay, now the other way to do this, let's see, I don't know if this calculator has it. If you want to do the cubic root, it won't do that. Let me see. Let's see. I don't think there's a way to do it on this one, but if you're on Scientific Calculator, you can always go to the Desmos one, this Desmos one, which is pretty good. and then you'll be able to do exactly what it is that we're doing. So take a look here. So it was 658,503, 658.503. And we're going to bring it now. See the a to the b, that's the same thing. So I'm going to bring it to the 1/3 power. That's 8.7. But if you want to look at it as if the cubic root, see this key right here, the n with the radical? So you're going to type in the number 3 first and then click that key after. Oh, nope. I'm sorry. This calculator works different. That's okay. They all work a little bit different. Let's clear that. So we're going to just click that key. I guess it's going to bring it right to where we want to put that 3 in. So now it's the cubic root of 658.503. Is it 658,503? Yep. And we're going to hit enter, and then there's your 8.7. Okay, so these are just multiple strategies to get there. Okay, so now that you've seen a couple different methods, let's go back. All right, this next one is a triangular pyramid. So we're going to solve for the missing height. So there's a little bit we're going to have to work backwards from. Let's write the volume is equal to base times height. And let's say that what kind of base is it? It's a triangle. So the triangle is 1/2 base times height, right? Because your triangle is 1/2 base times height, but then you also have another height coming in with for the repetition of your sticky notes, right? So look, we're going to substitute in all the pieces that we know. So we know 352. We know 1/2. We know the base is n. The height is 11. And then the other height is 8. So what I did was I did the height of the triangle being 11. And I did its base being n, because that's what we're solving for. So it's 1/2 n times 11. And then it's also times 8. So we get 352 equals 8 times 11 is 88. So it's 88n over 2. I'm just cleaning it all up. I'm doing 1 times n times 11 times 8. And 1 times 11 times 8 is 88. N is in a numerator as well. 2 is the only thing in a denominator. So this gets me 352 equals 44n. And all I have to do now is divide both sides by 44. And I quickly solved for my missing piece. Whoops, 352 divided by 44 equals 8. So n is equal to 8. And if you want to check your work, what you can do is you can work backwards. So you can do 1/2, so 0.5, times base, which would be 8, times height, which would be 11, and that's your triangle. So that whole number equals 44. So 1/2, 0.5, times 8 times 11, and then that gives you 44, and then multiply that triangle by its height, which is 8. So 44 times 8 equals 352. And that's exactly the original volume we started with, which is really good. Okay, that means we did it right by checking our work. And, oh, we have a couple more. It looks like I did quite a bit of problems here. So, let's do this one. We're looking for the height. So, volume is base times height. The base is a circle, so it's the area of a circle, which is pi r squared times height. So volume equals pi r squared h. And so we have the volume which was given, which is 225.90416. And then we have pi, and we have radius, which is 4.6 squared, and height is what we don't know. Okay? But to quickly get to height, there's a couple things we can do. Let's first do this math out. 225.90416. Let's do 4.6 squared. So we get 21.16 pi times h. I just did 4.6 times 4.6. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 21.16 pi. But wait a minute. Let's leave pi just the way it is, because let's do it in two steps, because the software wants me to not use the number pi, wants me to use 3.14. 225.90416 divided by 21.16, which is 10.676 equals pi times h. So what I'm going to do is divide both sides by 3.14 now, because that's the number they're using for pi. So divided by 3.14, and I get the number 3.4. And that's it. So the height is approximately 3.4 meters. Again, you could have done this in one step. What I don't want you to do is divide incorrectly. So you need to divide by both 21.16 and by pi. If not, if you don't divide correctly, you're going to multiply it by pi, because the calculator is not going to interpret it as all being division. So you need to use your parentheses if that's the case. Okay. All right. Each side of a cube is 1 millimeter long. What is the volume of the cube? Well, this one's pretty easy. Volume is base times height. The base, it looks like it's 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter. And the height appears to be 1 millimeter as well. So 1 millimeter times 1 millimeter times 1 millimeter is 1 millimeter cubed. And that's it. All right, the next one. A triangular prism is 5 inches long. Triangular prism 5 inches long and has a rectangular face with a base of 8 inches and a height of 4.1 inches. What is the volume of the triangular prism? Okay. So this one, if you want to draw it out, you can. I mean, maybe that's probably the best way to do this, but you don't have to. Okay, I'm going to draw out a triangle, and it's going to have a height. Oh, let's see. All right. There's my triangular prism. Triangular prism is 5 inches long. Okay, well, you know what? Not really drawn to scale. Let me draw it a little bit larger then. Maybe this will be easier. Oh, there we go. So, it's only 5 inches long, so we will say that. So this is our, whoa. This is not drawn to scale. Again, give me a second. If I'm going to draw a diagram, I'm going to try to make it drawn to scale. Okay. Good enough. This will be 5 inches. It's 5 inches long, remember, and has a triangular face with a base of 8. So here's my base of 8. Oops, it's inches. My apologies. And a height of 4.1. Not drawn to scale still, but we'll go with this because I'll be here all day drawing this. All right, what is the volume of the triangular prism? So volume is 1/2 base times height. Oh, I'm sorry. The volume is base times height. And the base is going to be a triangle, which is 1/2 times 8 times 4.1 because its base is 8 and its height is 4.1. And then you don't forget the height of the entire thing, which is 5 inches. Okay, so the triangle repeated over and over. So that's volume is going to be 4 times 4.1. And then times 5 inches. So 4 times 4.1 is 16.4. And we're going to multiply that by 5. And so volume equals 82 inches cubed. And there we go. And the last one, a rectangular prism is 7.2 feet long, 2.1 feet wide, and 2 feet high. What is the volume of the rectangular prism? And this one is base times height, and so volume equals let's try that again, base times height. It doesn't really matter. We'll use 7.2 feet and 2.1 feet as the length and width of the base, and then the height being 2 feet. And so we have 7.2 times 2.1. So volume equals 15.12 feet squared times 2 feet, which you could have done all together if you wanted to. And so volume equals 30.24 feet squared. Cubed, sorry. So 30.24 because it was a rectangular prism. And that is it. So that is the end of our notes for T5. All right, so now you can go and get that done. Good luck.